Right beneath one of Europe's most beautiful and historic cities, just a few miles from the bustling streets of Naples, Italy, there is something that most tourists have absolutely no idea about. A massive supervolcano hidden beneath the Earth's surface, awakening after centuries of slumber. And the most alarming part is that scientists have confirmed it's entering the most dangerous phase in over 500 years. We're talking about Campi Flegrei, a supervolcano located just 8 miles west of Naples. And what is happening beneath it has been keeping researchers around the world awake at night. When we think about Italian volcanoes, the first name that comes to mind is Mount Vesuvius. Right. The volcano that destroyed Pompeii in 79 AD. But what most people don't realize is that there's a much larger and far more dangerous volcanic system sitting right next door. Campi Flegrei is one of those rare beasts called a supervolcano. A volcano so powerful that when it last erupted 39,000 years ago, it changed the climate of the entire planet. The eruption shot out 72 cubic miles of molten rock into the atmosphere. Global temperatures plummeted, summer turned into winter, and volcanic ash blanketed Europe all the way to Russia. This event nearly wiped out early human populations in Europe. And the last time Campi Flegrei erupted was in 1538. Back then, a new mountain called Monte Nuovo, which means new mountain, was born in just 48 hours. Pyroclastic flows raced across the landscape. Toxic gases filled the air. And the coastline was forever changed. For nearly 500 years since then, the volcano has stayed quiet. But silence, when it comes to supervolcanoes, doesn't mean safety. Quite the opposite. It can mean that something enormous is building up below, out of our sight. And that's exactly what scientists have confirmed with discoveries that are sending shockwaves through the volcanology community. The most dangerous supervolcano in Europe was hiding a secret beneath Naples. And when researchers finally pieced together what was happening down there, the data were terrifying. Because we're not talking about just any volcano. Campi Flegrei is a caldera, an 8-mile wide collapsed volcanic crater. And inside this crater, over 500,000 people are living their daily lives, completely unaware that they're sitting directly on top of one of Earth's most dangerous geological features. This area includes the towns of Pozzuoli, Boccoli, Monte di Procida, and parts of Naples itself. It's one of the most densely populated volcanic regions on the planet. And the question scientists had been trying to answer for years was simple. Is the volcano reawakening? The answer they found is more disturbing than anyone expected. A groundbreaking study published in Nature Communications in 2025 revealed something unprecedented. Using advanced seismic imaging and artificial intelligence, researchers at the University of Naples and the National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology discovered that Campi Flegrei has a massive magma chamber sitting at approximately 4 kilometers, that's about 2.5 miles, beneath the surface. And this chamber is being fed by an even deeper reservoir at 7.5 kilometers depth. The technique works like this. Scientists deployed hundreds of seismometers across the caldera. Every earthquake, every tremor, sends waves through the earth. When those waves pass through solid rock, they travel fast. But when they encounter magma, molten material at temperatures exceeding 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit, over 1,000 degrees Celsius, the speed drops dramatically. Using artificial intelligence to analyze over 25,000 earthquakes, scientists built the most detailed image ever created of what lies beneath Campi Flegrei. It's like an MRI scan of the Earth's interior. And what the image revealed was a magma system that nobody fully understood existed at this scale. The magma chamber extends across a massive area beneath the Bay of Pozzuoli. The estimated volume of potentially eruptible magma is enormous. And the most alarming discovery? The system is actively evolving. But magma isn't the only thing moving. What really stands out is what's been happening at the surface. And this is where the story becomes truly extraordinary. The phenomenon is called bradyseism. It's a slow rising and falling of the Earth's surface, like the breathing of a giant. And Campi Flegrei is experiencing the most dramatic bradyseism episode in modern history. According to data from the Italian National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology, since 2005, the ground in Pozzuoli has risen by 144 centimeters. That's nearly 5 feet. 144 centimeters in just 20 years, without stopping. And here's the terrifying part. The rate of uplift is accelerating. In early 2025, the ground was rising at a rate of 3 centimeters per month. That's over an inch every single month. In just the first 4 months of 2025, the ground rose by 21 centimeters, more than 8 inches. Think about what that means in practical terms. At the ancient Roman port in Pozzuoli, Boats that used to float on water are now marooned on land. The ground has risen so high that seawater can't even enter the harbor anymore. Buildings that were once at sea level are now sitting several feet above the water. It's as if the entire city is being lifted by an invisible hand from below. And it's not just the ground that's moving. The earthquakes are getting stronger. This is where things took a dramatic turn in 2025. On May 20th, 2024, at 12:07 p.m. local time, a magnitude 4.4 earthquake struck Pozzuoli. It was the strongest earthquake recorded in the Campi Flegrei area in over 40 years. Buildings shook violently. Walls cracked. Glass shattered. Schools were evacuated. People ran into the streets in panic. The Italian government immediately declared a state of emergency. And this wasn't just a single event. It was part of an unprecedented earthquake swarm. Between January and September 2025, over 8,200 earthquakes were recorded in the Campi Flegrei area. That's an average of 30 earthquakes every single day. 5 of these quakes exceeded magnitude 4.0, including a magnitude 4.6 double event on March 13, 2025. The University of Athens Seismic Network detected swarms of 49 earthquakes in a single hour during the May 2024 crisis. People in Pozzuoli and Naples were feeling the ground shake beneath their feet multiple times per day, every single day, for months. And while this was happening, scientists were racing to understand the source. Then came the scientific breakthrough that changed everything. A study published in the Journal of Geophysical Research in 2025 analyzed the preparatory phase of the major earthquakes. And what the researchers discovered was both fascinating and frightening. The earthquakes weren't just random tremors. They were organized in clusters, concentrated at depths of 2 to 3 kilometers, exactly where the magma chamber meets the overlying rock layers. Using machine learning algorithms, scientists identified hidden fault structures that had never been detected before. These faults are acting like pressure valves, responding to the accumulation of magma and superheated fluids below. The artificial intelligence analysis revealed something remarkable. The earthquake patterns were showing precursor signals, warning signs that larger events were coming. In the weeks before the magnitude 4.4 event in May 2024, there was a subtle but detectable change in the frequency and depth of smaller earthquakes. It was like watching the fuse slowly burn toward a powder keg. And the most critical question became, are these earthquakes driven by magma rising toward the surface, or by hydrothermal fluids, superheated water and gases, pushing through cracks in the rock? The answer came from Giovanni Macedonio, the director of the National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology in Naples. According to Macedonio and his team, the current unrest is most likely caused by a combination of both. Deep magma is injecting gases, primarily carbon dioxide, into a shallower hydrothermal system. This pressurized water is what's causing the ground to swell and the earthquakes to intensify. But here's the critical point. While hydrothermal activity is the main driver right now, there is no guarantee that magma won't start rising. The system is dynamic. It's evolving. And the boundaries between hydrothermal and magmatic unrest are blurry and dangerous. Warner Marzocchi, a professor of geophysics at the University of Naples Federico II, explained it this way. One thing that you learn very soon is that we do not have the control. Nature has the control. The biggest scientific challenge is to understand what is the drive behind this unrest. And that uncertainty is what makes Campi Flegrei so terrifying. Because if magma does begin to rise, the warning time before an eruption could be as short as 72 hours. That's 3 days to evacuate 500,000 people. So what would happen if Campi Flegrei erupts today? Let's be clear. Scientists do not expect an eruption on the scale of the 39,000-year-old supereruption. That was a cataclysmic event that's incredibly rare. But even a moderate eruption, similar to the 1538 event, would be catastrophic. Giovanni Macedonio has stated that an eruption at Campi Flegrei could halt air travel across Europe and potentially other parts of the world. Volcanic ash would spread for hundreds of miles, grounding flights, contaminating water supplies, and collapsing roofs under its weight. Pyroclastic flows, superheated avalanches of gas and volcanic material traveling at speeds over 100 km per hour, could race across the landscape, incinerating everything in their path. Within the red zone, the 8-mile wide area directly around the caldera, survival without evacuation would be nearly impossible. And tsunamis are also a concern. Recent research published in 2026 in the journal Natural Hazards and Earth System Sciences analyzed the tsunamigenic potential of landslides in the Gulf of Pozzuoli. The study found that underwater landslides triggered by seismic activity or volcanic eruptions could generate tsunami waves that would hit the coasts of Naples, Sorrento, and the islands of Ischia and Capri within minutes. There would be no time for warning. In fact, the Italian government considers Campi Flegrei a national threat. It's classified as one of the highest-risk volcanoes on Earth. The evacuation plan, updated in recent years, calls for the removal of 500,000 people from the red zone within 72 hours if the alert level is raised to alarm. But many scientists and civil protection officials privately admit that evacuating 500,000 people in 3 days through narrow roads with limited infrastructure during a volcanic crisis is an almost impossible logistical challenge. Imagine the chaos, the fear, the traffic jams, the panic. And all of this would be happening while the ground is shaking and the volcano is rumbling to life. And there's another detail that almost went unnoticed. During the 2025 crisis, the seafloor in the Bay of Pozzuoli deformed significantly. GPS stations recorded both uplift and subsidence in different areas, indicating complex movements of fluids and possibly magma beneath the caldera. At the same time, gas emissions increased. Fumaroles, volcanic vents releasing steam and gases, became more active. The Solfatara crater, one of the most closely monitored sites in Campi Flegrei, showed increased carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide emissions. These gases are coming from deep within the Earth, transported by hydrothermal fluids from the magma chamber below. It's a direct connection between the surface and the volcanic system at depth. The volcano is communicating with us. We just have to listen. But here's the most important part of everything discussed in this video. Scientists are not standing still. The Campi Flegrei Volcano Observatory operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, monitoring every earthquake, every ground movement, every gas emission. Over 100 seismic stations, dozens of GPS sensors, ground deformation radars, geochemical sensors, and thermal cameras are all feeding data into advanced computer models. Artificial intelligence is being used to detect patterns and anomalies that human analysts might miss. International teams from Stanford University, University College London, and research institutes across Europe are collaborating on cutting-edge studies. In 2024 and 2025, scientists installed new submarine monitoring systems in the Bay of Pozzuoli to track underwater seismic activity and ground deformation. Drones equipped with thermal cameras and gas sensors are regularly flown over the caldera. Satellite radar imagery from the European Space Agency's Sentinel satellites provides continuous monitoring of ground movements with millimeter precision. Our understanding of Campi Flegrei has advanced more in the last 5 years than in the previous century. And every new piece of data makes risk assessment more precise and preparedness more effective. And I will keep following every publication and every new piece of data that comes out about this region, because what is happening at Campi Flegrei is one of the most significant and dangerous geological events of our generation. This is not fear-mongering. This is science. This is reality. Over 500,000 people are living inside a supervolcano that is waking up. And the world needs to pay attention. If this video helped you understand the scale of the threat hidden beneath one of Europe's most beautiful cities, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because every week there is new content based on real data and verified scientific sources. And if you know someone who is interested in volcanology, or planning to travel to Naples or the Amalfi Coast, share this video. Information and knowledge are always the best form of preparedness. And if you want to keep learning about what is going on beneath our feet and beneath the oceans, stay tuned, because in the upcoming videos, I will go even deeper into the science, the history, and the future of the world's most dangerous volcanoes.